About the properties of isosceles triangles. And so there's a picture of an isosceles triangle, and some things are labeled there. First of all, the two sides that are the same, we call those the legs. Notice that's in blue. Those are the two sides that are the same because remember, in an isosceles triangle, how many sides are equal? Two. Now, as a result, when you have those two equal sides, you also have two equal angles. And so the question is, how do you find those angles that are the same? Well, if these two sides are the same, the angles opposite those sides are what are the same. And we actually have a special name. We call those the base angles. Okay? We also have what's known as the base, and the base is actually just the side that is not the same as the other two. And then we have the vertex angle. And I think you already have this written down, possibly in your notes when we talked about isosceles triangles. But what we're going to do today is we're going to find out what are some of the properties of isosceles triangles. And so we're going to complete this investigation. This is actually in your book in section 4.2 as well, but I have it up here, and we're going to do this as a class today. So it says, let's examine the angles of an isosceles triangle. Each person in your group should draw a different angle for this investigation. Okay, so you two and you two your group should have at least one acute angle and one obtuse angle. Okay, so now what I need you to do is I need one of you to draw an acute angle and one of you to draw an obtuse angle. Like, move over. And Joe, you can work with Nick. I mean, you don't need to actually move the seats. You can just slide over. Okay, so draw the angle on patty paper and label it angle C. So one acute angle, one obtuse angle. So you need to figure out who's doing what.
You draw an acute angle.
Yeah. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
That's acute angle. Oh, Now notice what it says. This angle will be the vertex angle of your isosceles triangle. Place a point A on one ray. So remember just one side of the angle. Place a point A. Okay. Fold your patty paper so that the two rays match up. So basically, what are you doing with the angle?
Folding it over itself.
I know, but folding it in
A
half. Okay? So that the two rays match up, trace point A on the other ray. Trace point A on the other ray. Now, label that point you just traced. Instead of labeling it A, label it B. Okay, so you're just tracing that point, and you're going to label it B. So now what you need to do, connect A and B. So,
How do we find B?
You see this right here? Oh, actually put it back. Put a dot here for A. Okay, so now, there's put a new dot there. You can call that one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So basically, so now what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead. No, just Now, what you have just done, believe it or not, okay, after you draw that segment in, is you've created an isosceles triangle. Okay? What two sides, okay, are the same?
Okay.
CB and CA. So these are what do we call those? The legs. All right. What is the base going to be?
HB.
What's the base going to be?
AB.
AB. This is your base right here. Okay. What are the base angles?
No, CBA
CBA,
and CAB.
CAB, and those are the same as well. Now, once again, if you had any questions if they were the same, all you have to do is fold your patty paper over on itself, and you will see that those angles are in fact the same. Okay, you can even use your protractor to check it too. Oh, use your protractor to compare the measures of the base angles. What relationship do you notice? You notice that they're the same. So we have a theorem for you, or a conjecture for you to write down.
Washing.
Thank you. Okay. If a triangle is isosceles, then its base angles, what can you conclude about its base angles? They are congruent. Nice job. Okay, and we just showed how that worked. And once you get that written down, we have the converse of the isosceles triangle conjecture. If a triangle has two congruent angles, then what can you conclude? So if you know a triangle has two congruent base angles or two congruent angles, what can you conclude about that triangle? Then it's what? Isosceles. Good job. Then it is an isosceles triangle. So those are two conjectures that you have down. We're going to look at, I believe, one more slide for today. Okay, you ready to go? So here we go. Now, if you notice, this has number 7 by it, so it's taken from number 7 in your book. Okay, so if you want to, you can look in your book. We're actually on page 209. And it says the measure of angle T equals. So just in that triangle, we need to find the measure of angle T, which is right here. How can I find the measure of angle T? Yeah.
Take 180 and subtract 78.
Right, so I'm going to take 180 minus 78 minus 24. So what did you get T to be? 78. Okay, so since it's 78 degrees, we know that it is what type of triangle? Okay, so I know it's 78 degrees, and I know it's an isosceles triangle, and so I know that those are our base angles. So let's go ahead and, since those are my base angles, I know that the sides opposite those angles are the same as well. So I know that this side and this side have to be the same. That's how I know what two sides are the same. So based on that, I can write an equation, right? Because I know that y plus 22.5 has to equal what? 38.5. Because it's an isosceles triangle. Questions? Does everybody understand where that comes from? Those two have to be the same because the angles opposite them are the same. So now to solve, I'm going to subtract 22.5. And what do I get y to equal? 16. Okay, so what that means is that this is now 16. And really, what is this side right here going to be? 38.5. It wants to know the perimeter. So to find the perimeter, I'm going to take 16 plus 38.5 plus 38.5. And what do you get the perimeter to be? 93 centimeters. Okay? Questions on that? That's kind of the thought process you're going to have to take through these problems. So what you need to do for me for tomorrow is 1 through 9. We've already done one of those. Okay? Now, if you actually work, you should get done before the end of the period. So if you work on this, you shouldn't have any homework. So for tomorrow, 1 through 9.